the difference a week makes. This time last week, Sri Lanka were in serious contention of being knocked out of the Asia Cup after suffering an embarrassing defeat to Afghanistan. A week later, they've bounced back. They've beaten Bangladesh in a game filled with errors, and they've backed it up with a win against the team that downed them on the opening day of the Asia Cup. They've taken a significant step towards the final of the tournament, of which they still are official hosts. They didn't get the 176 like Afghanistan did. One guy didn't get 80, 4 guys got 30, and they've in the end done it at a canter. It might have gone to the last over, but Sri Lanka looked well and truly in control, and we will revisit those crucial 5 overs of Afghanistan's batting towards the end. And we'll pick up the key moments of this game on Qatar Airways Presents ESPN Cricket for T20 Timeout with Gaurav Sundararaman in a moment. Before that, Farveez Maharoof, whose heart has pulled through. He wanted Sri Lanka by heart. He thought Afghanistan by mind. In the end, how clinical, how impressive, and how easy was that chase, Farveez?
Yeah, just trying to get my adrenaline in control, Raunak. It was a great chase. I thought it was nicely done, and also the dew factor played a major role, and the wicket was nicely coming on to the bat. The batsman did enjoy it. It was skidding on. I did mention in the previous show that the first 6 overs, if Sri Lanka could get 45 to 50, at least minimum 1 wicket, if not no wickets, I think Sri Lanka will win the game. And exactly what happened. The start, and also, when you don't give wickets up front to Rashid Khan and Mujibur Rahman, this is what happens. They usually try to bowl to take wickets, and you go for runs. I thought overall Sri Lanka was fantastic. Everyone chipped in crucial moments, and a great start for the second round.
Absolutely. If we go to that overs tab on our scorecard on ESPN Cricket, it's a wonderful feature. It's been around for a little while now. It'll just tell you how the teams went at different phases of the game. And I guess GS is the best person to talk to about that as we look at till what point the teams were level. We look at that 15th over in the Afghanistan innings, GS, when they were 138 for 1. Imagine getting 60, 70, maybe even 50, and you're chasing 190 suddenly. And we know what happened thereafter. Would you go revisit that now? You did say at a halftime show, the way Afghanistan have finished could cost them.
Absolutely. I think you're spot on. Even I look at the over stat pretty closely, and there was a 17-run over in the beginning, and the power play, like Farveez said, I think power play, when you're chasing, Sri Lanka kind of nailed it the last 2 games. They've been struggling with the power play. We saw that in our previous shows. But when you have a target in sight, suddenly people play very differently. And that's what I think Sri Lanka have capitalized on. 36 of 18 top-notch innings. And it's very, very rare T20I innings, Raunak. Like you had said at the start of the show, I think I didn't have enough time to pull out the exact position they will be in, but this could be one of the highest chases where nobody has scored more than 40. And this is how you want a T20Is to be, or T20s to be played. Contributions not from individual brilliance, but everybody chipping in with a 150, 160 strike rate. Or more than that. That was perfect. So I think Sri Lanka won some key moments. They were constantly trying to hit that boundary. I think that was the key. They didn't play out Rashid Khan. They played good shots against Rashid Khan. They did target Mujib. So I think credit to Rajapaksa, Gunatilaka, and Kusal Mendes. I think those 3 were the big heroes of this game.
Yeah, I think Farveez, I'd love for you to just give us some insight from the cricketer's eye on just the difficulty of batting in both innings. We saw Gurbaz striking well with the new ball, struggling for a bit, still ending up with an incredible innings, but nobody else found any real fluency in the Afghanistan innings. On the other hand, Sri Lanka, like we've pointed out, did not have that one player who got his eye in and batted deep, but even a Rajapaksa who came in, a Gunatilaka who came in, seemed to have no relative difficulty in getting the boundaries. So what does that tell us about how batting was in the second innings?
I thought they played the free-flowing game. That's the biggest difference. And also I mentioned about the dew factor. When the dew comes in, the body hardly turns, and even when Gurbaz was batting, it was dry and there was no dew. That's why some of the deliveries were hanging into the pitch, and it was hard to time. As the second innings and the dew fell, and that's where Sri Lankans were brilliant. I mean, the way Rajapaksa batted, the little cameo he played, Danush Gunatilaka, proved a lot of people wrong. He can definitely contribute a lot at number 4 for Sri Lanka. So I reckon it's all about, controlling your emotions in these games. So that's exactly what Sri Lanka did, chasing down a huge score. And also, I remember a couple of shows before I told you, Raunak, it's Sri Lanka, underdog tag suits them. I mean,
Yeah.
everything to gain, nothing to lose. That's the attitude we should go. Sri Lanka should go in the future as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to pick out certain moments in the game where you felt perhaps the dressing room changed in terms of emotion, in terms of optimism. And if I could pick the sixth over of this chase, Farveez, at 5 overs, Afghanistan were 46 for 1, Sri Lanka 40 without loss. Rashid Khan gets his first over, the big Rashid Khan in a massive game with a good score behind him, and he goes for 17. How decisive do you think that over was in just giving Sri Lanka the belief to go on?
Yeah, 44 no loss, and Rashid Khan came in. I mean, everyone would have thought, and hope Rashid Khan would have bowled the last over of the power play at least for about 8 runs, and that's where the class of Kusal Mendes comes in. It was 2 decent deliveries which went for sixes, and that made a huge impact as well. And also Kusal Mendes, when he was going great guns, he got out. Similar with Kapoor Nisanka, looks like he's running away with the game. He got out. I mean, these are the moments kept the Afghanistan in their toes as well. But Rashid Khan in the first over 17 runs was a huge statement.
I did hear the broadcast put out the stat, GS, that it's his most expensive T20 figures in the UAE, which is quite something. What happened to Rashid Khan? I want Farveez to weigh in on this as well, but he usually, comes back even if he goes for an expensive first over. Today he seemed to lose the plot. He seemed to want to get himself into a bit of a bust up with Gunatilaka. What happened today?
It's not something which happened just today, Raunak. I think we discussed it in the pre-show. He's just not very good in the power play. You can look at it in any league. You can look at the stats anywhere. His power play numbers are generally not good. I think he likes the field to be behind. He likes the comfort. I guess it's just not his comfort zone, and Sri Lanka capitalized beautifully.
All right, Farveez, if you could just weigh in, because we saw Rashid Khan frustrated, irritated, whatever word you'd want to use to describe him today. What happened?
I think everything, and also, I did mention about playing with the ego when it comes to big players like these players. So I think that's where Sri Lanka did really well, and he was trying to bowl to take wickets, exactly what Wanindu Hasaranga did in the last game and went for runs. And today Sri Lanka, played him accordingly. I mean, the Sri Lankans played him as a medium-faced bowler because he's skidding onto the bat, try to hit straight down the ground, and that's where I think Danush Gunatilaka went across the line and lost his off stump. So I reckon going forward, Rashid Khan will be a key factor for Afghanistan, but the other two teams, the big boys, Pakistan and India, could watch this game and learn a few things how Sri Lanka played against Rashid Khan.
All right. Well, full credit to the batters of Sri Lanka. Can't really pick out one single performance, right? Mendes had his moments, Rajapaksa had his moments, Gunatilaka had his moments. But if I have to look at Afghanistan's bowling, Farveez, you've already mentioned they did have the harder of the conditions to bowl under. Could they have still bowled any better? Could you have still tried to make this target seem tougher for Sri Lanka?
I don't think so. I think they bowled decently well. I mean, even Mujibur Rahman, Mohammad Nabi, everybody, and also a couple of missed chances also in the field. Afghanistan that lost that momentum that Afghanistan had. So overall, I think more than Afghanistan bowling poorly, I thought Sri Lanka batted brilliantly.
All right, that's a pretty fair summation. I wonder if the luck index would tell us anything at all. There was a moment of fortune with Remanullah Gurbaz early in the innings, JS, and there were 2 chances where Afghanistan would be thinking now, what if Gunatilaka was taken early on in his innings off Nabi? What if they had still got Rajapaksa when the equation wasn't quite as easy in the last ball of that Naveen-ul-Haq over? Did luck play its part in deciding this?
100%, and especially especially for Gunatilaka, who's been one of those players who kind of changed the momentum in a phase where I felt that Afghanistan were just kind of dominating and were the favorites at that point in time. So, but in every T20 game, luck plays a huge role. All of us have seen that. We've seen that in various instances, either no ball wickets, boundary catches, or wrong calls by the umpire. These are common things, but you have to kind of grab every opportunity that goes their way. And the other thing is, when you look at it, I think Afghanistan was in the match almost till the 13th or 14th over. I think they were favorites at one point in time. But I guess that's the beauty of chasing, and 50 of 5, 60 of 5 nowadays is how teams plan. And that's exactly what Sri Lanka ended up needing. They needed
Mm.
49 of 5 overs, and after that, it was just a mere formality. So that's why the middle overs are very crucial. You don't want to bring it to this kind of situation. You have to always have a run rate of about 12, required run rate of about 12, 13 to kind of really put pressure on the opposition, which I think they failed to do. And I think today the Pacers, Afghanistan Pacers, whom we have really praised a lot,
Yeah.
there wasn't much swing, there wasn't much to offer. It was very tough to pick it up from the television about impact of Dew, but play bowlers like Navinul Haq require some kind of grip. They need to bowl their variations, and I don't think it really helped them. Both the fast bowlers were kind of very, very expensive.
Yeah, there were enough Afghan players with the handkerchief with them, so you knew that Dew was playing its part. It's funny that we spoke of highly of the Afghan bowlers. They've had an off day, albeit with tougher conditions. We also spoke of Sri Lanka's curious tactics with their batting order, Farveez. And we said this time and again now. What is Gunathilaka doing it for? Nissanka and Mendes at the top, do they work? Was today the first sort of indication of what this team is trying to achieve? Would they be sitting and saying, yes, this is what we wanted. We wanted 60 from Mendes and Nissanka and the power play, and we want Gunathilaka to play in the middle overs and get us a quick fire 30 of 20. Do you sense that today the team would be feeling very satisfied with this slightly unorthodox decision they've taken?
I think the team as well as the think tank will be satisfied when a plan comes right. I think the think tank will be happy, but still, I'm not convinced that they're going to be batting at number 4 still. If you ask me, Raunak, because we haven't seen him bat at number 4 at all. It's a different ball game. Number 4 batter, most of the time you need to bat probably with the middle order and the late order, and you try to drag the game as much as possible. And that's where I think only 20 of just under 20 runs to get. The shot Gunathilaka played, just 3 more balls of Rashid Khan left. Those are the tactical decisions you have to make when you're batting in the middle order. I mean, you can't blame Gunathilaka straight away because all his life he's been batting in the top 3, and he's been asked to bat at number 4, and tactically sometimes you can go wrong. So overall, I think it's a satisfied day, of course, but in the longer run, lots of thinking still to be done. And hopefully Gunathilaka will learn a thing or two if he wants to continue this good form leading up to the World Cup.
Yeah, absolutely. You needed another instrument to just measure what was going on in that period of play between Rashid Khan and Danushka Gunathilaka. It was fun to watch because it gave us some spice, some needle in this game. Before I wrap up, I must ask Farveez, Maharoof what these 2 wins would do, say, for the hopes of the Sri Lankan team, the thoughts from the people following cricket in Sri Lanka who would have thought, gee, how bad is our team after that first game against Afghanistan? Suddenly, with game filled with errors, they get over the line against Bangladesh. Today, they have commanded a win for themselves against Afghanistan. They have momentum, Farveez. What does this do for Sri Lanka's chances going forward?
I mean, hope of the entire nation with all the crises what we are going through. This is the biggest smile they can put in the cricketers can put to the public. So I think overall, after the first game, they did took a lot of battering from the public as well as the cricketing circle. So this team has shown lots of grit, lots of greatness and togetherness. Even in commentary, Scott Side is mentioned about how closely this team is united when they are watching from the dressing room. So it's a lot to like about this young team. And it's all about carrying on the momentum. I mean, after first game, even if you ask me, Raunak, I would have had my feelings for you, saying that I'm not sure about what's going to happen in the future. But the way they chased down 2 big scores just goes to show this young team, definitely has what it takes to be a great team. It's just a start, but definitely a good start. And I'm sure India, Pakistan watching this game will be thinking, yeah, they got a good game in hand against Sri Lanka.
100%. This is a huge step taken by Dasun Shanaka's side to possibly make the final. If they can upset one of India or Pakistan, it's fair to say it would be an upset if it happens, then that's pretty much it. 2 out of 3 wins should be good enough. They get 3, then that's where they'll march to the final. On the other hand, GS, wonder if this is a bigger blow than we can possibly imagine for Afghanistan. They would have banked on this fixture. We'll beat these guys. We hammered them in the first game, and we know we have a tough 2 games back-to-back, 7th and 8th September against Pakistan and India. Those will be formidable challenges. Do you sense this is now significantly dealt Afghanistan's chances a severe, possibly fatal blow?
Absolutely. If they win this, one win, which I feel like they can beat Pakistan in the current form. So Yeah, this is a big loss for them. Now it actually, like you rightly said, the chances are going to be very hard. They have to beat India and Pakistan. Uh, and one way to look at it for Sri Lanka is that I wouldn't just say that they've done the hard yards. If you assume Sri Lanka, Pakistan, and India to beat Afghanistan, then it's literally a tri series between India, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka, and those games become the most important. So there are two ways to look at it. Yes, this was an important fixture, but we have two really strong teams left to play. So it's still very wide open.
Yeah, it's a fair point. That I mean, this is perhaps under the assumption that if India are favourites and you back them to win every game here, then it's between Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Afghanistan. But we've seen now India have their problems. So that tomorrow's game is a 50-50 contest on our preview, which we recorded with Wasim Jaffer and Mickey Arthur. So it's hard to call a winner just yet. But Sri Lanka have made a step in the right direction. It's a big thank you to Farveez, Maharoof, as well as Gaurav, Sundararaman for their time and their thoughts. Let me get a prediction from Farveez for tomorrow. And I'm not talking about India versus Pakistan. Farveez, you can give me that prediction anyway. But what's going to happen at 9 p.m. our time when an invincible Arsenal side come up against a struggling Man United side? GS said it.
Struggling with momentum and won the last two games playing at home. 2-1 for Man United and Casemiro to score the first goal.
Oh my! All right, thank you very much, Farveez. I will keep this nice and safe. So the next time Farveez Maharoof is with us for the India-Sri Lanka game, we'll play it right after Arsenal have done the business at Old Trafford, or we'll edit all this out and it won't exist. Sorry, GS, this must have really taken precious time of your life. You don't give a damn about football, I know, but we leave it here and we look forward to your company and your fine thoughts, gentlemen. Thank you very much as the Asia Cup continues to roll on. Tomorrow's the big one, India versus Pakistan. We'll be thrilled to welcome Robin Uthappa back in studio. So too a very special guest alongside with him, and Mickey Arthur will be with us on link too. So join us then on Qatar Airways presents ESPN Cricket for T20 Timeout.